Email marketing has been called business's best tool. And when I'm done, you're going to understand why that is, why it is called a business person's best tool. We've probably been hearing, or you've probably been hearing all throughout the internets, right, that you need to create and grow your email list. And of course, it's easy to understand why. I mean, you can communicate directly with the people on your email list. So you don't have to depend on a social media company's algorithm. We're only a small percentage actually will see your post, except maybe in a group, right? But you also get to build a relationship with them. You are building trust with them because you're communicating with them, whether it's a monthly newsletter or weekly, tips that you're sharing via email. All of those things help to build a relationship with the people that are on your email list. You're also turning prospects and warm leads into actual clients, because the more that they, get information from you, see that you know what you're talking about, realize that you can actually help them solve a problem, then you'll be, perhaps be top of mind when they're considering looking for the services that you have to offer. So just want to make sure you're clear on some of the reasons why you should definitely build an email list. Before we continue, though, let me introduce myself. My name is Patrice Davis. I am the owner of Grants Works Consulting and Ready, Set, Go Consult. Grants Works Consulting is a consulting business we've been in business now for 4 years. Our clients include nonprofits, universities, businesses, startups, and local government agencies. And we are a consulting firm. We offer grant compliance consulting services. I am also, as I said, the CEO of Ready, Set, Go Consult. Ready, Set, Go Consult is a consulting business accelerator that helps you build the business foundation that you need so that you can actually grow your business on a strong foundation. And we help you eliminate the chaos, help you eliminate the guesswork of trying to figure out how to both get clients and grow your business, get clients and streamline your services, get clients and improve the positioning of your company. So that's what we do at Ready, Set, Go Consult. But before we keep going, would love for you to press the subscribe button and, of course, the notification bell so that every time I do a live, you are able to join me, right? So just want to make sure we went ahead and ready, set, on that, or just kind of set on that. So there is much more you can do with your email list other than, the 4 things I mentioned earlier. There are even ways you can generate income outside of, someone hiring your consulting firm or maybe purchasing a product. There are other ways that you can actually use your email list as an income generation tool. And so some of those ways I am learning about them myself, so I won't even pretend to know exactly how to put them into action, but I'm very familiar with people who've been able to do exactly that. And there are tools, a very popular tool that has recently, released a product that makes it much easier for you to be able to use that email list that maybe you've been growing over the years, and actually be able to actually earn funds, earn revenue from using your email list. So we're going to leave that for another day. Today, I'm going to be talking about the initial creation process. The initial creation process. You are a new consultant, or you've been in business for a few years, and you've been getting clients in a number of unique ways. I wouldn't call them unique, but you've been getting them in a number of ways, and you just haven't had a time really to number one, think about how to create an email list, think about what content you will share with that email list, how frequently you would do it, what tool you would use. By the way, I cover all of this in the Ready, Set, Go Consult Business Accelerator. It is actually a business accelerator. We actually say, hey, here are the tools that you can use. Here are like the top 5 to 7 tools for each of these functions of your business. You decide which one you want to actually use based on the interface or some of the other considerations you may be considering. But it is truly a business accelerator. We really help you lay the foundation. And like I said, we help you eliminate the guesswork. So we're going to go back to talking about building your email list, not optimizing it, not, using A/B, not doing like A/B tests and segmenting the email list after you've actually built it. It's the initial build. So We're going to jump into that right now. Let's go and talk about number one, right? So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to entice them with useful information that you would share through, let's say a social media post or some other content, right? So it could be, ebooks, those are very popular. And actually, I've done a couple of tests and actually done an A/B test of, some giveaways where we had ebooks and, an on-demand masterclass or webinar, and ebooks always won. That's because many times when you think about it, people may not necessarily be in a position where they want to watch a masterclass. Maybe they're interested, but the time it takes for them to pause long enough to, actually access the masterclass, and they may not even have the time at that moment to actually do the masterclass. So, as I said before, ebooks are a great way. Quizzes, you may go to a website and they actually, you may go to a website and they have a couple of quizzes that you can take to determine whether or not maybe you're ready for a relationship. Maybe if that's the kind of website you go to, or maybe a website where they want to, you do some other quiz. Maybe it's a personality test or something along those lines. Before you can actually access the test, they are, capturing the email address, and that's one of the things that you can do. Maybe you've created a really cool template that a lot of people will be interested in. You're a consultant, your industry, the kinds of tools and templates that people in your industry find valuable, and so maybe you create a template that people would really, really, really want to grab as quickly as they can. White papers. I've seen white papers, and I know a lot of large firms use white papers, but, that is one of the ways that maybe they are able to get folks to, sign up for their email list. I haven't used white papers. I have used ebooks. I have used templates. Another one is coupons. So, people, everybody loves a deal, right? So maybe you offer a coupon of some sort, maybe 50% off this service that you offer. 50% is kind of high, but 10% off, some kind of promo, that's some kind of service or product that you offer. So, just know that a coupon is a great way to get email addresses as well, to actually start building your list. And case studies. People love case studies, and as long as they're not too long and they're presented in a really cool way, a little snippet explaining what the issue was, well, actually what the problem was, what was the solution that was, proposed or offered, and then the outcome for the client. That's always going to be a great read, as long as, again, it's presented in a way that makes it easy to read and it's not too long. It's not laborious, right? It's just case studies. I have found to be something that people are very, very interested in. We actually created a webinar once, and that's one of the webinars that we are able to offer at a cost for people to be able to rewatch it. And that's actually a pretty popular one. Now, one of the things that I think you're probably getting from all of this is you're going to need to really think through what your target market values. Are they going to value an ebook? All right. Well, if it's an ebook, what is the content of an ebook that would actually get them or entice them to say, yes, I'm going to give you my email address because I really want to get my hand on that ebook. If it's a quiz, whether it's a template or a coupon or case studies or even a white paper, is that something that your target market values? And so that's why it's important to really understand. One of the reasons why it's important to understand your target market. So again, don't create a white paper if your market won't consider it enticing enough, right? I know I haven't created a white paper, and and I work in the federal grant management space, but who's to say I won't actually give it a try one day? And so that's number one. You can share, you can share these, like I said, in a social media post or several social media posts, as long as and as often as you'd like. Reword the post so that it's, you continue to make it as enticing and freshen up the language, so to speak. So that's an example of putting it somewhere other than your website. You're putting it in other places so that people are enticed by the introductory language and certainly enticed by the actual offer, with a free offer. Okay. Now, The second option is if you have a website and you want to offer, a free item via a pop-up, right? I'm sure you've gone to a number of websites and something pops up just when you're about to leave the website or a few seconds after you get on the site. There are ways to actually customize how you want the pop-up to appear. I know I've created pop-ups, and so I'm familiar with some of the ways that a pop-up can, be, let's say, can be, can actually pop up, right? So when you have a pop-up, you have an option to, again, give away something for free. This is, of course, if you have a website or a landing page. Potentially, I'm not sure if landing pages can have pop-ups. I've never even looked into that. But if you have a website and you design a pop-up, you can use that pop-up to offer a free item, right? So again, it could be a free ebook, it could be a free quiz, it could be a coupon, it could be a case study, it could be whatever it is that your target market is interested in. That's how you are able to get the email addresses of people that visit your website. So just something to consider. You can use it. You can basically have a pop-up for a newsletter. Maybe in the space you're in, you are, an expert, and you know that people are really interested in what you have to say. You may have a very unique spin on something in your industry. And so people come to your website, they read your pop-up, and they're like, yeah, I want to keep hearing from this person. I do want to sign up for their newsletter. So again, a pop-up could be for a free item that you give away, or it could be to ask folks to subscribe to your newsletter. Just ask them straight up, hey, I have a newsletter. This is, this is the type of stuff I share. I think you'll like the newsletter. Of course, you use different language. And then of course, they have the option of signing up for your newsletter. So, and then the other way that you can use a pop-up is for a waiting list. So maybe you're a consultant that, maybe you work in a certain area, and you know that there's a maximum number of, people, or maybe there's a new program you're releasing, and there is, that there's a maximum, let's say 10, 20, maybe 30 people that you can work with, or companies you can work with as you're providing whatever that service is. And then maybe you use a pop-up to, let people know they can join a waiting list. So those are three ways that you can use a pop-up on your own website and build your email address as you go. Okay. Another way that people don't speak about enough, but I've used this in my business. Again, I have Grants Works, which is a consulting business, grant consulting business, and is speaking engagements. I won't go into a lot of details around that, but that is definitely a way that you can actually build your email address. As a matter of fact, you build your email list. There are a lot of ways that you can go about doing that. And I've certainly done that on a number of occasions. I would say at least 3 or 4 times this year. So this year, I really was able to really increase the number of speaking engagements. These are paid speaking engagements in some instances, but definitely paid training opportunities. So, companies will hire our company to provide training. And so we've been able to do that in partnership with other large organizations or through a direct engagement of our company. So just want to make sure you were aware of that. Now, I do want to make sure that for those of you who are here, drop any questions you have. I realize that the YouTube thumbnail was incorrect. This is definitely the YouTube Live about how to build your email list. I've already gone through, actually 3 of them. But I do want to let you know, I'm just going to basically reiterate that what this is about is the initial creation of your email list. As I said, not how to grow your email list, not how to optimize it, not how to segment your email list. This is truly how to build it. You're starting from zero, and you just want to know how to build it. So the first thing I mentioned for those of you who are joining me was entice them with useful information shared through a post or some other content that you share, around on the internet. Second was, using a pop-up, and I gave several examples of how you can use a pop-up. Number 3, of course, is a speaking engagement. So as I said before, don't forget to press the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can join us every time we go live. I say us. I'm so used to saying us, but it's really joining me. The fourth one is hosting a webinar. this is a fantastic, or not just a webinar, hosting multiple webinars. It doesn't, certainly not one every week, but you may decide in 2024, I'm going to host 4 webinars, one per quarter. Here are the titles. Here are the dates that I'm considering. And as you're creating these webinars and thinking about the title and all the other things, one of the things I've learned from people who are much more experienced than me is to make sure that the titles are really enticing themselves. I used to, host webinars with the most boring webinar titles, and I probably still have a lot of work to do. But the fact of the matter is, the more I've spent time trying to make sure that that title was enticing, then there's a greater chance that you'll have more people register. And you also need to give yourself enough lead time to actually host the webinar. And, I know in 2022 and in 2023, I would host a couple of webinars and not give myself enough lead time, which therefore, of course, cuts into the number of people will actually, actually register for the webinar. And so I've used a couple of things to be able to kind of skip around that. Number one, I can do LinkedIn Lives, which I'm able to do because I'm, the status that I have on LinkedIn, but definitely hosting a webinar. Here's a fun story. When I first launched my consulting business in January 2020, around, I would say April 2020, let's say late March, April 2020, I met 4 other consultants. These were grant consultants, way more experienced than I was. And what we did was for a number of weeks, we designed 6 weeks of webinar content. So I was focused on grant compliance. Another one was focused on grant writing. The other one on evaluations. We were all in the grant space, right? For those of you who don't know, when we think of the word grant, we should not always think grant writer. A grant writer is just one of the professions in the grant space. You have grant writers, you have grant managers, you have, I guess, research administrators. Those are the folks that work at universities. And you have folks that do evaluations of grant funded projects. They are, so just want to give you an idea, right, of the breadth of, or the types of people that are in that industry. And so one representative from each of those industries, actually, we all came together. And for 6 weeks, we hosted live webinars on different areas of grants. And that was, of course, in May of 2020 into June of 2020. And so what does that mean? That means that we were able to get a lot of people to register over that 6-week period for all of our webinars. And at the tail end, we had several hundred email addresses that we were all, everyone registered. We were all able to walk away from that session. We didn't really do it for the intention of getting email addresses. I think we just wanted to kind of get our names out there, keep our names out there for those other women who had already been in business. For me, I was a newbie, so I was trying to get my name out there. And so it was a great way for us to partner together, learn about each other, collaborate with each other. We created slide decks together. We would meet at a certain time. And I'm sharing all of this to show that for those of you who don't realize it, collaboration is really important to be able to move forward. And I've shared this in a number of instances. If you're new in business, collaborate with complementary consultants, because it's a great way to grow your business, a great way to prove what you can get done. And this is something that happens a lot in my space, at least in the grant space. Like, I'll refer a client, a prospective client who I know is probably not the best client for my company because of the services that they're looking for. I'll go ahead and refer them to a great grant writer, or I'll refer them, like I did the other day, to an evaluator who from a university. So an evaluator basically was a university client who I've worked with in the past, came to our company and said, we want this service, right? And so there are a couple of ways that we can go about doing it. We can have a subcontract relationship, or we can have them actually work directly. And so basically I forwarded them to this other this other company, because what they were asking for was way outside of our scope. And it didn't make sense for us to take it on and try to manage it as a subcontract, because it just didn't make sense in that instance. So just want to give you an idea, right? That, collaboration is really important. And we collaborated on those webinars and walked away with several hundred emails on the email list. And we each walked away with the entire email list. So, and so, of course, I was able to take that initial email list and grow it, but probably 10 to 11 times over. So another thing you can do to build your email list is to offer free consultations. So when you offer free consultations, depending on the kind of questions you're asking when they book the consultation, one of them should be for their email list. I mean, for their email address. Then you're able to actually build your email list in that way as well. We have a CRM system, and we have a couple of automations in place to connect the CRM to the email marketing system that we use. So just know that that's just one of the ways that you can use automations to streamline some of the things in your business. And again, this is one of the things that we teach in the Ready, Set, Go Consult Accelerator. And pretty soon I'll be sharing some exciting news about the accelerator and how you could actually join us. Right now, the final example I'm going to give is cross promotions. And this isn't happening as much. Maybe I shouldn't speak for myself, but from my, vantage point, right, I'm not seeing this happening as much where, company A and company B, they have complementary services or products. They exchange email lists, or I don't even know how that works, but it does happen. And so that's one of the ways that you can also build your email list. Again, I can't get into the details of how they do that, how they, how that works, but I do know that is one of the ways, and we just haven't done it yet. So now we're also going to talk about, as I said before, we're not going to talk about optimizing an email list. There are tons of ways you can actually optimize your email list once you build it to a certain point. And I am not the one to say once it gets to 500, you should start doing A/B tests. I'm not that person. That's not my expertise. I'm not going to try to pretend that it is. I do remember when I worked in direct mail and direct marketing, we did quite a bit of that. For those of you who don't know, I come from a marketing background, and I actually used to be a marketing manager for in the direct marketing space. And so we did a lot of direct mail campaigns, not just in the United States, but internationally. And so list segmentation, list purchasing, list rentals, I would say purchasing, list rentals, list segmentation, A/B tests, all of those things are things that I used to actually design those strategies and implement those strategies. And again, not just in the US, but in Canada and different countries around the world. So I'm very familiar with it from a direct mail, direct marketing point of view. And so when my email list manager is speaking, email newsletter, the person that manages our email campaigns is speaking to me about some of the things we can do with the list, I'm completely on the same page. And highly am supportive of some of the things that she proposes. So just want to make sure you're clear that once you build the list, there are things that you can do to optimize the list. And at that point, you may want to consider tapping into the expertise of someone who actually has experience in that space, rather than trying to do that on your own. Again, you are a consultant, and so maybe you want to limit how much time you're spending on, segmenting your list or optimizing your list. So, there are other things you can do as well. Of course, you have to make sure that you have to come up with a content strategy. It's an overall strategy. What are you going to be sharing with your email subscribers? How often will you be sharing it? And based on some information, you can actually take a look at their open rate and their click rates to get an idea of what is it that keeps them interesting, what makes them open up the email more frequently. What are the emails, what's the content, what are the topic areas where you're getting 35, 40, and we actually get between 33 and 42% open rates on a regular basis for our email list. Our click-through rate could use some work, but we are getting really high open rates. And that is because, and this is something I want you all to consider maybe as a mistake to avoid. So because of the work that we do, we actually are in the federal grant space, and it's something that a lot of people want to learn more about. Every time we send a newsletter, people are opening it up, like I said, between 33 and 42% on a regular basis, averaging around 37%. However, because they're so accustomed to getting information, and I, I'm very, very strategic with the information that I share. Um, I think that they are opening because they're curious and they want to learn, but that transition to actually say, yes, I want to, take advantage of this promo that GrantsWorks is offering. That's what we're still trying to perfect. So that's still in the works. So once you build your list, it's not enough to just build it and share information with the audience. You then have to think through, or whoever you maybe contract with has to think through, how can we optimize this list? How can we make sure people are more active, engaging actively with the email marketing campaigns that we're sending out? So just want to make sure that you guys are aware of how to actually build and create your email list for your consulting business. Again, if you want to learn more, go to readysetgoconsult.com, and there you'll find out about the accelerator and about actually some really cool free tools that we have. And so, true to form, true to what we talked about, we actually have a free ebook that you can get, right? It's called How to Build a Multi-Six-Figure Consulting Business. Another one is a free masterclass, and it is a similar title, but it's a pretty detailed masterclass. Had a lot of fun recording it, and so you can actually access that there. We also have the Ultimate Consultants and Freelancers Starter Kit. That is not a free item. It is something that we offer, and we've had quite a few people download it in the last year and a half that we've been offering it. And a few other things that I think you'll find really intriguing, like our Client Attraction Masterclass. And as I said before, the Ready, Set, Go Consult Accelerator, which we offer as a membership. Again, really cool information. We're going to share about that very, very soon. If you enjoyed what I shared, please go ahead and subscribe, drop a comment, say, hey, you didn't touch on this, or yes, I really like what you shared. I now understand this a little bit better. But yeah, drop a comment. Comments are really, really great. That helps YouTube understand that this information is, valuable to the folks that are watching it. And of course, subscribe. That's another way that YouTube knows that, there's an audience out there that finds this very interesting. So those clicks on those subscribe or the content and the comments matter, right? So that's it for today. We're going to have a pretty short live. So I'm hoping I answered some questions for you. Check out readysetgoconsult.com, where we're going to have some information for you to get for, free items, or learn more about me or about the service. And, everything that you need is there. So thanks again. Bye.